Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. On the undercard of Conor Benn versus Chris Eubank Jr. is what I think could well be fight of the night, and that is a contest between Viddal Riley and Cheavon Clarke. It's for the British Cruiserweight title. Now, Cheavon Clarke is coming off a defeat, a split decision loss for the EBU title to Leonardo Mosquera. He was floored in the first round, and I thought he was a bit fortunate to get out of the first round because definitely Mosquera was I think a lot better. I'd seen bits and pieces of him previously, but not a great deal. But he was a lot better than I thought he'd be. He's undefeated. I don't know why I was thinking he wouldn't be particularly good. I think probably if someone spends most of their time, knocking around their own country and not doing a lot of travelling, then you sort of think, well, what are they hiding? Are they hiding away because they're not that good? But then you can say that about Chev Clarke. He spent all his time in Britain, and you can say that about most fighters. They cut their teeth in their home countries. But he did lose. I thought it was actually a split decision, a 12-round split decision. But I thought Mosquera did win, but there's no doubt that Clarke came back into it. Chev Clarke is a very, very tough man, and he looks quite intimidating as well. He's 34 years old. Prior to that fight, he stopped Ellis Zorro in 8 rounds. Did Tommy McCarthy in 4. He had a good win over David Jameson too, Scottish fighter. That was a 5-rounder a couple of years ago. He made that jump to EBU level. Didn't quite come off, but I would say probably, he's good European level cruiser. Now, Viddal Riley is younger. Viddal Riley is 7 years younger, 27 years old. And I think he's taller by a couple of inches maybe as well. Whereas Cheavon Clarke is a southpaw. Viddal Riley is orthodox. So there's a couple of little differences, the age thing, the stance. Viddal, his recent fights, I'm trying to think. I know he stopped Nathan Corliss. No, he didn't. It was a decision against Corliss, and he stopped Dan Garber. That's how it went. Yeah, because those were his 2 fights, previous fights. He also had a fight with Lawal, didn't he? Mikhail Lawal, who was 17-1. He won a decision over him. So again, he's held the English cruiserweight title. This is for the British one, and this is a pretty logical step up for him. But it's against a very, very good opponent. I should have pointed out earlier that when he fought Ellis Zorro, Clarke actually won the vacant British title. So he's been champ before. So he's got slightly more experience. Chev is 10 wins with 7 KOs, just that one defeat to Mosquera, whereas Viddal has 12 fights, 12 wins, 7 KOs, no draws, no defeats. So who's going to win this one then? Because I think stylistically, even though they're opposing stances, this has got fight of the night written all over it. I wonder if Chev Clarke will have learned from his near mistake. He was floored in the first round against Mosquera. He started so quick. I wonder if he's learned to be just a little bit cautious in the opening minute or two. Maybe sort of have a little reconnaissance mission in the first round, have a look at the opponent and then go to work rather than come out firing on all cylinders. And he was trying to get Mosquera out of there in the first minute and he walked into one. I don't think he'll be quite as front-footed with Viddal Riley. Riley has some, he's got some nice boxing skills. He doesn't really box on the back foot. He's pretty much a pressure guy. But there's some thought goes into it. Clarke is, in the past anyway, has been very, very aggressive. It took him a while to break down Ellis Zorro, 8 rounds. Zorro was coming off a 1-round blowout to Jai Opataya, by the way. But he is heavy-handed. He's got those 7 KOs in 10 rounds. I think at British level, at domestic level, you can say he's a pretty big puncher. But noticeably couldn't really put a dent in Mosquera. who himself was a very, very tough man. Will he be able to unnerve Riley with the power, intimidate him? I very much doubt it. There's nothing to suggest Riley's got a bad chin. This is, of course, over 12 rounds, so we're talking 36 minutes of fighting. The Nathan Corliss and the Lawal fights were over 10 for Riley, so he has done, or both those were last year actually, so he did do 20 rounds last year, which is good. Whereas Chev is coming off, a firefight, split decision loss over 12, and in his fight prior to that, I can't remember the name of the guy, but this was the one after the Zorro fight. He had I think it was a majority win. I don't think it was a unanimous win. I can't remember the guy's name, but that was a 10-round decision. And then the Zorro fight was early last year, 2024, and that was 8 rounds. So in terms of activity, I would say they're pretty much even. But it might be a case of, even though he's 34, I didn't see any. It sounds like it's quite an old age, but for a cruiserweight, not really. And the guy's Clark's only had 11 fights. That's not that many, not many miles on the clock. Maybe with those 12 rounds against Mosquea, he will have, his confidence might have grown even more, because he's always been a confident guy, Clarke, as has Riley. But I see this being a very entertaining fight. I think both guys will clip each other. I've seen nothing to suggest Riley's got a bad jaw, to be honest with you. And even though he's only got 7 KOs in 12 wins, I mean, in terms of experience, they're pretty much the same, aren't they? One's had 12 fights, one's had 11. But I think he probably hits a bit harder, Riley, than has previously been suggested, even though he went 10 with Lawal and 10 with Corliss. And, he also had 2 fights with Anis Taj, and he stopped him. I think they were both 4-round stoppages, weren't they? Because the first one was a cut eye. Taj had a cut eye when there was some controversy, so they had a rematch. And then Taj, I think, got floored in the second fight by Riley. Yeah, I mean, I see Riley as probably hitting a bit harder than his record suggests, whereas Clarke, good power, decent power. I'm not sure either of them is going to be able to put the other guy away. I'd be surprised if this doesn't go the distance. I really would. Thinking about the southpaw stance, Chev's southpaw stance, would that give Riley any problems? Offhand, I can't think of any southpaws that Riley has faced. I know Taj was orthodox. I can't think of any. Lawal, Mikhail Lawal is orthodox, isn't he? Yeah, I can't think. So it's possible the southpaw stance of Chev Clarke gives Riley problems. That is feasible. But like I say, professionally, they've had pretty much the same amount of fights. Only one fight difference. They've both been busy. No inactivity. It's going to be a close one. This, I think this will be a very close one. But gun to my head, who do I think is going to win? God, it's a difficult one to predict. This really is a difficult one. I've got a feeling that Riley might just edge it on points. Sort of 115, 113. Might be a majority decision. Might be controversial. That's not to say I can't see Clarke winning. I certainly can see him winning, but I just got a hunch, thinking about both their fights respectively, that Riley, I don't know. I mean, the Lawal fight that's got to be over a year ago now, and that was for the English Cruiser title. And since then, he only fought Dan Garber, which was a couple of rounds. I'm talking about Riley now. Whereas Clarke against Mosquea, that was late last year, wasn't it? I don't know. It's a very difficult one. I'll tell you what, I can't give you a reason why I would pick Riley to slightly outpoint, ever so slightly outpoint Clarke. I can't give you a logical reason. I just think he might have a little bit too much craftiness for Clarke, and Clarke will come forward and try to put it on him. But I think Riley, who is slightly taller, slightly longer dimensions, a bit more ring IQ, but maybe a bit of a higher ring IQ. I don't know. This is very difficult to pick. But I will go for Viddal Riley to win a close decision over Cheavon Clarke. But I think this will be a very good fight. Very good fight. Two styles that aren't entirely dissimilar, even though one's a southpaw, one ain't. Yeah, I'll go with Riley on a points decision. But don't ask me why. What do you think? Leave your comments below. Tell me who you think is going to win and why you think they're going to win. You've probably seen a fair bit of both these guys like I have. So leave your comments below. And yeah, thanks very much for watching the video. Please like the video if you liked it and hit the subscribe button too. Much appreciated. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. And I'll get you later. Bye for now.